So today I wanted to talk about something that I know is going to be a big change from what I normally post on this channel, but I think it's important to point out and to make this video right now with everything that is going on, especially because with all of the protests and stuff going on around the country, it is important that people know the rights that they have when they go to a protest and how to stay safe when you're going to them, okay? But with those current things that are going on, it's important to review what your rights are and how to stay safe while at protests. So the first thing is that the US Constitution guarantees under the First Amendment that there are freedoms of speech and assembly. However, these rights are strongest traditionally in the public forums, such as like protesting and speaking out against things, as in like parks and streets and anywhere you want to kind of go, or like anywhere that you are allowed to assemble that is not trespassing on someone else's private property. You can speak out and protest in any of these places. It is legal and you are allowed to be there as long as you are not asked or permitted by a police or law-abiding officer to leave. Now, there's a big difference between public and private property. Generally, you have the right to protest on anywhere that is private or that is public property, provided that you are not blocking access to buildings, blocking access to streets, blocking access to important services, like you're not stopping an ambulance or a fire truck from getting through, right? Now, private property owners set the rules. Private property can be places like Walmart, Home Depot, you mean McDonald's, or someone actual private property, right? Like some schools will not let you protest on their private property, but then that is technically their legal right to let you do that. But you can go to any park or any street out there that is not public, that is publicly owned, and you are allowed to protest there. You are not doing anything wrong by being there, as long as you are not causing a public disturbance. Or they can enforce it if there is a clear threat of safety to either them or the civilians that live in that area or place, such things as riots and things like that, right? So try to steer away from things like that. Then they can definitely arrest people or ask people to leave. If you see that a protest is starting to get more rowdy and you're uncomfortable with that, then it is probably best for you to leave, right? There is nothing wrong with leaving a protest because you feel like it's just getting more out of hand than you thought it would, right? No problem with that. So, and also keep in mind that counter protesters, which are groups that have an opposing view to yours that show up at the protest, they are also allowed to be there as long as they are not being violent. They are not being like overly rude or disruptive, right? They are allowed to be there. Within sight and sound of one another, it is perfectly fine. But they can't like mesh, right? They don't like it when both the counter group and the normal group kind of like clash with each other, because it normally breaks out into things like riots and angry protests, right? But you are allowed to protest at most schools. You're allowed to protest on most streets, at most parks, as long as it is public property and not private property. You are allowed to be there, but so are they at the same time, right? Important to keep that in mind. Now we're going to go into another topic that's super important for going to protests. It is safety at protests as it is currently today, okay? If you want to go to a protest and you want to bring your young child with you, I would say young would be anything like 14 and younger at the moment, right? With everything that's going on. Before this year, I would have said, which is not a long time, this year has been going on, but I would have said that young would have been 10 or younger, but now I would say young is 14 or younger, okay? And when you bring a kid to a protest, it is not neglectful to bring a child to a protest if it is going to be a peaceful protest and if that protest is during the day. It can be seen as less. Some people don't like it, and people cannot like it as much as they please, but it's not neglectful to bring a child to a protest. I've been to many protests, even with like my dad when I was younger, and I've been to many of them even when I was a much younger child. I think the first time I went to a protest, I was 8 years old, and we were protesting education, right, to keep education in Indiana, because what they wanted to do was they wanted to privatize all schools in Indiana. But nowadays, if you want to bring a kid, just keep in mind that they're gonna probably you're gonna want to bring protective gear for that kid. You're gonna want to bring a respirator mask, and you're gonna want to bring like eye goggles, face goggles for that kid. Make sure that they are dressed in long sleeves and long pants. They are wearing shoes that they can like kind of, if they need to get away from somewhere quickly, they can, right? It's not because you think something might happen. It's because it has been proven now, as we saw in Oregon with them literally pepper spraying children and the elderly, that taking kids to protest now, if you want to bring them, it just means you have to take more precautions than maybe we used to in the past. Now, if you're going just as a normal protester, you're an adult, whatever, you're above the age of 14, you want to go to a protest, cool, lovely. Make sure to try to have a buddy system. It's not always feasible to go with another person, but try to bring at least someone else there, or at least mention to somebody and be like, hey, I'm going to be at this protest at these times. Here's where I'm going to be. Set up like a tracker on your phone so they can see if something goes wrong. Make sure to have something on your phone where it's like you can click a button and then like it sends your information off to your safe person, because they can like help you out if something does happen, right? Which is right now in a very important thing that you have to actually do, because in many states protests are kind of getting out of hand, right? It's not just in Minneapolis anymore, it's everywhere. So you have to just make sure that you're staying in the buddy system and stay as safe and as protected as you can, right? But if you're going to go to protest nowadays, try to bring like respiratory stuff, respiratory gear, and N95 masks, face protectors, or better yet, remember those blow up dino costumes and stuff? Apparently those are great for warding off things like pepper spray. So if you want to both hide your identity and also have a good time, you can go as a blow-up dinosaur or a blow-up chicken. It'd be very fun. Yeah, you can do that. Bring out your Halloween costume and then you'll be finally protected for the most part. Also, do not wear contacts if you are going to go to these protests, okay? Contacts, if pepper spray or anything gets into them, it binds with the contacts and it sticks to them because contacts are very watery. Pepper spray tries to stick to any oils, any water, and that is largely a water-based thing, right? It will literally stick to the contacts and you cannot get them out of those contacts, and it can hurt your eyes. It can damage your eyes if it's in there for too long, okay? So if you do wear contacts, try to not wear them when you go to protests, just in case something does happen. Remember that when you bring signs to protest, signs are amazing for both saying what you want to say to somebody, but also any type of sign, whether it's super flimsy or more built, they can also be used as shields from other things or even just from other people. Like these crowds can get kind of large and big, even if you're not trying to stop someone from hurting you directly. People might just be getting a little too close to you, and you can put your sign around you to be more of like a barrier between other people as well, right? So if you want to bring a sign or something like that, just remember that you can use it for more than just saying, hey, yo, I'm unhappy with what's going on, right? There's other ways in which you can use that sign to keep yourself safe or to keep yourself away from other people and more distance from them, right? Just stay with the larger group if they're around in the area, right? Because often law enforcement is just there to make sure things do not get too out of hand. But it's if you interact with the wrong person at the wrong time, things can get out of hand quickly, right, with them. So it's one of those things of just try to stay with the main group. Try not to get separated from the main group, especially around certain types of law enforcement like ICE, right? Try to kind of just stay in the larger grouping and try not to be on your own if you can help it. Carry a lot of water, and not just like bottled water. Like you want water that you can it doesn't have one of those like suction things. Like I don't have a sports top on top of it, so you can blast yourself with this water. Because just so you know, you're gonna want it in case something does happen. Number one, you can get dehydrated. Yes, even in the winter, you can get very dehydrated. Other people might be getting dehydrated. That's the first reason. But the second reason, if something does happen and you do happen to get pepper sprayed, it will help if you have extra water on you, right? So you do want to keep that in mind. Also, another thing about pepper spray binds to anything that has both water and oils, hence why you can't wear contacts, right? It will bind to your hair, to your skin, to your clothes. It'll bind to anything that has oil and or water present, and it will activate to those oils and to the water. It can irritate your skin, not just your eyes as well. So if you are at a protest and you want to take a shower a few days later, just keep that in mind, that you're going to want to keep your eyes under a protective goggle shield or something while you're taking a shower, because it will reactivate the pepper spray or the sprays that are on your body still lingering. And if you did get sprayed with pepper spray or anything like that, just keep in mind that you're going to want to take off those clothes as soon as you get home, and try to like take them off in a way where it's like the outside isn't touching your actual skin as much as possible. All right, so I think that was all for the safety tips and for all that kind of good jazz. Ways you can protest without actually having to go to protest, because we do need all different types of people who do all sorts of different things. There are definitely people who like to stand up and go to protests and do that whole thing, but there's definitely people who don't like to do that, and that is perfectly fine and amazing. But here are other ways, if you don't want to go to a protest, that you can help in situations like these, right? We're just going to mainly focus on the things like the No Kings protests and the ICE protests at the moment, because those are the big, most prominent ones happening in the country at the moment. So if you're protesting ICE, for instance, you can leave any restaurants or not. You can leave any restaurants, businesses, stores, or even not buy from the places that support ICE or that are currently serving ICE, right? Like if you know that these people are ICE members and they walk into a store, you can just walk out without buying anything, and there's no problem with doing that if that is something that you want to do. Or don't support businesses in places that are currently supporting ICE, like the Hilton hotels. Don't go to them, don't reserve rooms with them, don't buy from them, right? That kind of thing. Find somewhere else to stay, since they are currently helping out with housing ICE, right? So if that is something that you want to do based on those protests, that's a way that you can help without actually going to protests. You can spread hashtags and things about anti-ICE or bills that you are against at the moment. You can spread information and hashtags about the No Kings protests at the moment, and other things like the 5051 movement, right? You can follow pages like theirs and spread them to other people. Send these pages to other people and inform others of what's going on in the country and how they can also help and support those around them as well. Remember to talk to family and friends about what is going on and how you are working on helping and protecting with these protests, right? You are supporting these people. Tell them what organizations that you are helping fund or helping with, or you are pushing towards other people, and explain to them why, right? But talking to family and friends largely is a big thing and very important. And in the climate of the country at the moment, it is very important to also stay in communication with people that you are friends and family with at the moment, right? Community is going to be the biggest thing right now for everybody, and staying with the community and keeping in touch with everyone is going to be the biggest help for everybody. If you are so bold and you don't want to protest, but you do still want to get information out to maybe people you don't know, right? And you aren't really like a tech savvy kind of person, you can print out already made pamphlets or already made stuff that has things like for the anti-ICE protests, for the anti-bill protests, for the No Kings protests, right? You can print out these pamphlets and stuff, or even make your own. You can put them like on people's cars or like near people's homes or whatever, kind of like how the Jehovah's Witnesses do. Going door to door, right, kind of thing, and just putting them there, because that's a very anonymous thing that you can do without having to show people who you are, and you can still get information out to these people. Whether they're going to read it or not doesn't necessarily matter, as long as they are seeing it, and if they see enough of it, they might actually start to read and understand what is going on at the moment, right? Or what you're trying to get your point across for, right? Or when you do these types of pamphlets, they usually have like organizations and stuff that are currently like supporting whatever pamphlet it was for, and they might find an organization that they can help by you distributing these. Also, if you have bills in your state, or you are upset with some of the national bills that are happening at the moment, you can always contact your state representatives or your Senate representatives, and to voice your opinion about what is going on and why you are against these bills and all these things. And you can even mention to your representatives that if they pass an X or Z, if they pass a certain bill, right, and they allow this bill to pass, you will not be voting for them again, right? This is usually what ends up changing a lot of those types of people's opinions on what they should be doing within the country, right? That can definitely be very helpful. You can also help or donate to organizations that are currently like funds, and there's a lot of lawyer organizations out in Minneapolis and even around the whole country, like ACLU, that is helping with the anti-ICE stuff and helping with immigrants connect back with the country, especially with asylum seekers that are currently being detained, right? They're helping a lot with getting people out of those detention centers, or like helping them not, get sent out of the country, which is a good thing. So you can donate to organizations like that, or to other organizations that are doing things that you support, or you can help donate to protester organizations, where that's what they do, is they go to protests and they do things, and the way that they get their funding to do that all around the country is by people donating to them, right? Like with the women's rights movement. They are a group that happens to go to place to place, and they work based off donations. So that's another good way of doing things. Or help out with churches or groups in your area that are helping with getting immigrant families food at the moment, people who can't really leave their homes. Like, you can donate to them or help them out by helping cook food with them, or any of those types of things. That is also a very good way to help out your community and to keep in contact with people of the community as well. You can also follow and support creators that spread good information and info about what is going on in the country at the moment, or even some that are just kind of like more like on the funny side, but like that are a little bit lighter. Like, for instance, Josh Johnson is a great comedian, but he also comments on the current political climate of the country. You can also, if you wanted to know more about your legal rights and what you can and cannot do in the country at the moment, Legal Eagle is a great one. Or if you just want to, in general, just follow some people that either debate Trump supporters or that just talk about the general political stuff that's going on at the moment, you can follow people like Legia Miller, Dean Withers, and Uncivilized, right? These people are very good at telling things how it is, especially with like making it more accessible to people that may not be so politically active all the time and are trying to now get into politics based upon what is currently going on in the country. Because I've heard a lot of people say, well, it doesn't really affect me, so why should I care? But it does affect you. Everything that's going on in the country at the moment eventually will affect you at some point. There's all the information about things like protests and what's going on at the moment, how to stay safe, what your rights are, and how to protest without protesting, right? To show your support of other people. I hope this video was very informative, and all the links for any organizations, any creators, or any other documentation or things that will help you will be down below in the description. And I hope that this was a very helpful and informative video for you. See you guys.